to take a look at where are our numbers really low. Start thinking about why are they low. Of course, AP classes generally have lower class sizes than honors or advanced classes. We do have a couple of classes in English language arts where the numbers are extraordinarily low. It's nice to be able to offer those classes, but if we're facing some tough decisions around how do we cut corners without cutting the integrity of what we offer to students, we will need to take a look at those courses where we have very, very low enrollment.
So my argument I would make here, and I'm not picking on a course. For example, novel writing we first introduced in 2008-09. We had 28 students in one section, which was way too many for that kind of course. Then we didn't offer it in 09-10, and this year we have 8 students.
I know.
So I would say, then you have an American Lit course where you have an average of 24.1 students, and I would say, why don't we have one more section of American Lit to get that down to 16 or 17 versus the poetry or the novel writing? So I know these are things that John, you'll work with John, but just looking, I guess the good news is we don't have any, there are a few that stand out that in the math area that are too high. In the English language arts, I think for the most part, the numbers are fine, but just some of those lower numbers were surprising to me. I don't think I've seen them that low before.
I just wanted to say overall, class sizes at the high school are very favorable.
Right.
Just to give a general statement, they are very favorable. There are some pockets that, as you have mentioned, pre-calculus, for example.
And probability and statistics are the
Probability.
two. And maybe you can get away with more kids in a math class versus, I just find that in the classes, especially in the English language arts where there's a lot of writing, or, in some of the social studies courses, you try to keep the numbers down a little bit in those courses, so.
We don't offer a single programming class either.
No. Do we?
That's really disappointing, so we're not really getting our kids to computer science type degrees.
Yeah, if you're looking at technology, we have tech drawing, CAD, but programming course would be something that,
So Google's not coming out of North Reading, that's for sure.
I don't know what engineering is. Obviously, I know what engineering is. I don't know what the
Right,
course is. I shouldn't have said that. But I think programming is something that I would.
We offered 16, there were 16 kids enrolled last year, and then we just dropped it this year. Is that what I'm reading?
It's not offered this year. We'd have to find out why, whether students didn't sign up or whether the teacher that did teach it is no longer here. I don't know. There are factors that would need to be considered.
I'd like to see object-oriented programming, instead of
What are the new
engineering in
languages?
general, like Revit, 3D.
And what are some of the new languages in addition to C++ is object-oriented, obviously, but.
Oh, there are countless, but
Right.
again, we're getting
.NET,
into
things like
a
that.
little hairy area here. Yes, I love programming, but there are a lot of students that may not care, and there may not be the competent faculty person who's already there.
That part's
who
true,
can
but
teach it.
look at the numbers right across. We've had.
Yeah, I would never put a kid in C++.
But look at the numbers, though.
That's a college course.
Well, we've had good numbers there, though. You know what if you look
Yes, but
across.
what's the quality?
It's not a college course, because a lot of the advanced math kids go into programming or engineering fields.
That's great.
and,
I
you
would
know,
rather see these kids in an AP computer science sort of arena, or taking a survey course of all the different types of languages so that they understand what they would need to learn if they're interested in pursuing computer science. C++ is such a narrow focus. If you're really going to
I
get
agree,
into
it should be an
computer
intro
science,
level in
there
ninth
should be
grade,
like a
C++.
like you do when you would get your first year of college, you do a survey course on.
No, I think C++
JavaScript,
should be introduced in
HTML,
ninth
Perl.
grade, honestly.
Well, I think
like
they
an
used to
intro
have
level.
it, that's where it was. I think it was 9th or 10th grade, wasn't it, Mel, that they had that?
I think so.
If we
Almost
compete against
sure.
the other countries, they're introducing C++ at like the 4th grade level. So,
I think that's a little insane, but that's
But
just
see,
my opinion.
This gets to, and again,
But
again,
I would not be able to cope.
we don't
Sorry.
decide what the courses are, the
Right.
curriculum is, but I think we can make recommendations, and this, I'm not as informed on what kind of programming languages we should be teaching, but it gets to my point about the technology I was talking about earlier, in terms of practical courses that get our kids more involved in mainstream technology. I guess that's what I'm looking for. And obviously, we're not going to have those courses if we can't find the qualified people to teach them, but my guess is you're going to be finding more and more teachers that can teach those courses.
Yeah.
But again, we
I
don't,
agree.
I know we
Great
don't
class
decide the
sizes,
curriculum,
though.
but,
I know we're focused on class sizes, and I'm very happy about the class sizes.
yes, the class
right
sizes are
now.
great. For the most part, the class sizes are excellent.
Other highlights, or?
Other highlights, I was very happy to see that we do not have very many classes that are 28, 29, or 30 students enrolled. I always look for that when I take a look at these kinds of documents. We have over 300 sections, and we only had 13 classes at 30. That's very good. We need to get those class sizes down, but in the scheme of things, that's very low. And then we had an additional 16 classes at 28 or 29. Again, very low when you take a look at all of the classes that are being offered in this high school.
One other question, it's combo class size. I know I'm using this as an excuse to ask more curriculum-oriented questions, but it gets to the foreign language area. We only have 5 students in French 2. What does that say about the future of the French program?
It's shrinking. We only have
I'm
one
gonna vote
section
right
in the
now
middle
to get
school.
rid of French.
But my question is...
I don't think we can get rid of France, but I think we could eliminate
The language.
French from
I
our
know,
curriculum.
But the question is, I mean,
Go one step
we're,
further with me,
we're
Jerry.
basically, there's 64 students taking French right now at the high school. There's 385 taking Spanish. We tried to offer German. I don't know how aggressive an effort was made to offer that. I don't want to see a high school that's teaching one foreign language, because one, I think that might hinder some students in terms of the colleges and we're getting to that point. And I just wonder, could we offer other languages that might have more interest?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
I noticed-
HTML, C++.
Well, no, not those kind of languages. But we really can't. I guess you could offer Mandarin Chinese, but I don't know.
I
how
think
many-
this is an area of study. I think we
I
really need to be
really-
taking a look at.
because that's a concern to me, having so many
That's
kids in one
competitive.
language.
Not only
Right.
what's competitive, but what, just ask the kids, what do you want to take for a language? I mean, some kids are interested in French, not only because of France, but because of African countries.
Right.
So they might want to, go to Peace Corps. I don't know, but
Most of Eastern Europe also speaks French
Yes.
too,
Right.
not just France, Germany,
I think the highest ethnic
Swiss,
group in
the
Massachusetts is
Netherlands.
French.
I don't think we're doing a good job promoting French.
Well, that's what
I mean,
I'm saying. That's my concern. Is so if everybody wants to take Spanish, fine, but it just and my worry is
Maybe
we only
not
have
this area,
5 kids in French
right,
too.
Right, I agree. I mean,
And you look in the middle school, there was 1 class of French in the 8th grade, and there was the rest taking Spanish.
yeah, I don't
That's
know.
right.
It's strange.
Now, and what about some of the other language? What about Latin? I know a lot of schools. Well, maybe I think a lot of schools still
I took
still
6
do
years of Latin,
teach Latin.
so,
Pig Latin.
Pig Latin,
Not
the
Pig
Three
Latin.
Stooges.
Thank
That's
you,
the Three
Mr.
Stooges is
Venezia.
very good at that.
Latin.
But
But,
is Latin an option, or is that something that?
Nope.
You have
Or
to-
to form, a language in, from one of the Indian countries.
That's a good idea too.
I would look at adding Chinese or one of the languages from one of the Indian countries, a little over Latin, just because it may be used in college and beyond.
But I think if that's an area that in terms of the curriculum
Mhm.
for study, that's a concern to me, and I think
It is an area that I would like to bring back to John and see if
Okay.
we can't
Yeah.
form
Great.
a task force group.
Because I think you're gonna run into the same problem. I think you'll see the enrollment pretty low in any of those choices, so.
we offered
Spanish
German
is a
for
big
2
deal,
years.
so-
Just cut back on some of the Spanish programs.
3 years. Yeah,
But
that's
the
if you
mar-
cut back
the-
in the Spanish, they have to
Give
take
them
the
options,
language, right?
I mean,
If they have options, I'd like to sort of see this transition and
The
see
kids are taking
what
Spanish
kids
'cause they
want to
want
do,
to.
but honestly, Spanish is a
Because it's
big part of
practical.
our country,
It's
and a
much
lot
easier,
of
but it's
kids would
practical,
like to
so
learn how to speak it
can't
so they
deny it.
can survive.
Right.
well, we shouldn't
So-
we shouldn't speak Spanish in the U.S. to survive in our own
That's a
country.
political opinion.
So, it's not.
No, it's a political opinion.
Well, I'm not going to teach my kids Spanish to survive in the U.S. So,
But Spanish is a
Right,
choice
got it.
that they make because it's practical. It's a practical
It's
language to
Yeah, I'm not
use.
saying they don't have that choice. I just think that
United
it should be studied, and I think we should.
Yeah, I mean, but if they
Great,
want
great class sizes.
Yep.
Very happy. Excellent. All right, moving on.
Yeah, I don't see, and I see the SAT prep course is still, it's got
Very
a
well
nice class
subscribed.
size, a lot of kids still taking it, which is good. I think that's been a real important part of improving our SAT scores
Great
here.
to have that.
So, overall, I think just the curriculum at the high school and looking at some of those low class sizes and foreign languages.
Will do.
Great. Bills and payroll, done.
Like the top ones, you really-
Minutes.
just the top.
Okay, maybe, I read through the minutes and I might have, I have a lot of, potential changes, but I might not be right, so so we may not be able to approve them tonight, but let me run through the changes that I have on,
Begin with the 25th of October, regular session.
no, that's right.
Is
What?
that where we're starting?
Oh, yeah, October
Okay.
25th, regular. I think that's the only minutes we have.
Yeah.
And then, under the,
Oh, that's right.
new middle high school clubs and activities proposal, instead of charters in the first line, it should be chapters. You say 2 charters, I think they're chapters. And then, I don't think we ended up calling it the Best Buddies Club. Wasn't it the Best Buddy Mentoring Program?
Yes,
Kathy?
yes, it was.
Special terminology that
Right.
we used.
Yes, it's Best Buddies,
Best Buddies
Peer
Mentoring.
Mentors.
Peer Mentors, yeah.
Peer Mentors, PER,
Mentors.
mentors.
And then the SAD was a middle school chapter of SAD, not a high school.
That's correct.
So that was a middle school chapter of SAD that would be reflected in both under D1 and then under the middle vote. We approved a middle school, at the middle school, not the high school. And then under the Northeast Metropolitan Regional Vocational District School Committee appointment, the motion actually was to place all 3 candidates in nomination. So it wasn't to appoint Mrs. Judith Diamond, it was to put all 3 in nomination. And then the vote was 10-0 in favor of Judith Diamond. Wasn't that correct? That's the way we did it, right?
All 3 were placed in nomination, yeah.
To do what? Repeat it again.
So the motion was to place all 3 candidates, to nominate all 3 candidates for the position. And then
Roll call
the
vote.
roll call vote was taken, and the motion passed unanimously 10-0 to appoint Mrs. Judith Diamond.
I only had one change.
I have one more.
All right, go ahead.
Sorry.
Wait,
Okay.
please.
See, this was caused by the ruckus of having the selectmen here that night.
That was.
You know what I mean?
That's what it
All
was.
kinds of noise, it was like a carnival in here.
Jerry was here.
And then the last one I have, and I might not be remembering this right, but on page 3, the first reading of the revised bullying policy, did we have a motion and a second to approve the first reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I don't have, that's not on here, so, and I don't know who made the motion and who seconded it, but we did have,
Take a look at my.
Okay.
notes
There was
and see.
definitely a vote on that.
yeah, I think we
Okay.
had to have a vote on that. So actually, maybe we can approve, you have one,
No, that was it.
oh, okay.
So other than E4, the font is weird, but you'll figure that out. E4, no report was given. It's in 10-point
Oh.
font. See, Mel, that's beneath you not to have figured that one.
What, the font?
E4.
I saw that font,
Staffing.
I thought you did that on purpose, because there was no report given, so she made it really little.
Okay, well,
That's it.
So,
got it.
I guess
I
we
saw
can have a
that.
motion to accept with, changes
As amended.
as amended, yeah,
you can do that?
yeah.
Okay, so I will put forth a motion to accept the regular meeting minutes from October 25th, open session as amended.
Have a second? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, unanimous. We have no budget update, correct?
Correct.
No staffing
Correct.
report? We do have a bid, we do have a donation. This is the donation from the, looks like the Giacalone family. And it's a brick walkway and patios, the materials and labor for a brick walkway and patios at the Hood School. And the approximate value of this is $2,600, which is a very generous donation. And it looks like the Parents Association will be